Well, hey there, friends and neighbors. It's your boy Matt at MDW GuitarWorks, and I'm here in the home office, which might just be the primary location for the shop, as it were. Don't really have a place right now to do any actual work since I'm in the new digs, and my options are kind of limited in that regard. But I figured I would maybe use the opportunity to tell you a little bit about one of my guitars that I'm particularly proud of. I was talking with a friend about this particular guitar. He runs a music shop up in Michigan, and hey there, Crispin, Boca Negra Music Store up in near Ann Arbor, Michigan. It's not in Ann Arbor; it's in a town nearby. But if you're up that way, check out my boy Crispin. He's an amazing guitar player, and so anyway, this one is my Time Traveler Strat. It's a kind of Frankenstrat sort of guitar I built a little while back. A friend of mine sent me the parts for it, and thank you, Dave, for that. And the body of it is a factory second from the Fender factory, so it's a real Fender. It's just the only thing I can find wrong with it is that there's just a real slight deviation in the cavity route that I guess couldn't pass their QC for releasing it as a regular Fender, which I don't blame them. They got their QC, and bless them, they try to stick to it. But such a minor little detail. If you were making it yourself, you wouldn't even think twice about it, because it's covered up by the pick guard anyway. But so had a real nice paint job on it too. It was this really deep kind of burgundy sort of kind of a, wasn't like a metal fleck, but it was a real deep, pretty sort of oxblood sort of burgundy color. Almost felt ashamed to start tearing into it with the Dremel, but that's what I did. I started to texture it because I knew I was going to do something cool to it. And the whole idea of the Time Traveler sort of developed over time as I started trying this thing and that thing, and then it sort of took shape. A lot of my creations kind of do that. I knew I was going to go over it with some sort of gold leaf or copper leaf, which that was a sort of an ordeal because I had never really done any gold leaf in the past, so I had to learn as I went, and that was fun. Went through a whole lot more materials than I had anticipated because, well, I wanted to do it right, and I didn't really know how to do it right. So it ended up being copper leaf, but when I was trying to put a patina on it, you find out that gold leaf doesn't hold up to a whole lot of chemical corrosion. And so what I ended up doing is, now I'm getting a little ahead of myself because I did a whole lot before I started working with the paint, but I'll go ahead and tell you about the patina work. It is like several layers of copper leaf. So it's real copper, but it's super duper thin, and you lay it on in layers with a fixative of some kind. And then once I had it completely covered, I put a mixture of vinegar, and I tried also ammonia or Windex, which has ammonia. I think the actual Windex brand has ammonia in it. Some of the knockoffs don't, so don't use that. But some salt, and I even tried mustard in some spots, which actually does work. Which, I mean, mustard just has vinegar in it, but it also has other stuff, so it kind of will get a little tiny bit of a sort of purplish greenish hue in some spots, and So I mean, it's worth doing if you're going to play with patina. I used to have a book. Well, it wasn't mine. I borrowed it from a friend of mine who's an artist, and she probably spent $300 on this book in college. But it had literally every recipe you could think of for putting a patina on various different kinds of metals, and like acid baths and all kinds of weird stuff that you can't really do unless you've got access to a chemical lab, which means you basically either have to be a working scientist or college student, and I'm not either one of those. So that was real cool, but I gave it back because I'm that kind of guy. So yeah, that was basically how the patina happened. But I also added some details like the hoses that are all over it. I knew I wanted to put something like that on a guitar, and excuse me, got a little mustache hair going on there. Sorry, that was pretty crude. Anyway, I had these hoses laying around that were from an old shower massager, and or just shower head extension sort of thing, and thought, okay, well, I want to do something with that. And I knew I was going to mount them like they were part of the machinery. And so what I did was I kind of planned for where I wanted the hoses, tried to keep them in such a way they wouldn't get in your way while you're playing. And but I also wanted them to go in at an angle so they'd be lower profile and not just sticking up at you, getting in the way. So I kind of strategically laid them out roughly how I wanted. And then I put dowels, a little dowel that would fit snugly in the end of each one, each little section that I cut. And I'm pretty sure I painted them beforehand, so I didn't have to do any masking or anything. I just laid them out and painted them and then installed them. But I fit a little dowel with a little masking tape around it and some glue so that it would have a nice permanent little plug sticking out, and made sure that the profile of the hose was exactly right so it would lay flush. Then I kind of drilled at the right angle that I wanted them to go into the face of the guitar so they'd go in just perfectly. And if I'm not mistaken, once I got them in, I did sort of fill in where they didn't go exactly flush with the face. Might have been just a little tiny bit of masking tape involved there, but I real closely detail painted it. And I may actually have put some Bondo around there too to make it more permanent, and then detail painted that after the fact. But once I had them installed, they were still kind of sticking up and didn't look quite natural, so I drilled like tiny little holes where I wanted them to pull down snug on the face of the guitar, and then looped a little bit of brass wire around there so they would real discreetly, and the wire kind of went into the grooves of the hose, and so I looped that around, and I put little brads underneath, just tapped them in so that just the head was sticking up, and wired the wire down there so it would pull the hose exactly snug, and experimented a little bit to get the lay and the pattern of how they lay just right. And so in one place I've got, I think, 2 hoses that go across, and they're out of your way, so when you're playing they're not going to catch on anything. And then another part towards the bottom base of the guitar, that's 3 that sort of overlap each other, and I think it looks pretty cool. And another thing I did was installed a little gauge. It looks like a little gauge. I used a hole saw to make a hole in the I'm pretty sure I used a hole saw. I don't think I freehanded that. I'm not even that good. But so the little gauge, little vernier thing is set inside of a tin can, and I guess I had the hole saw that was the exact same size as the tin can, and set that, inset that, and there's a little battery light behind it, and I hand drew the face of the gauge on some parchment paper, and used, I think, markers and art pens to get that going. Let's see, forgive my camera work here. I'm just trying to get a position adjusted so that my arms don't fall asleep while I'm holding the camera. So anyway, so yeah, it's a little battery powered light that makes the light shine, and it's backlit paper, so it has a nice little soft glow. They don't remember if the batteries are dead in it. I'll see when I get home. But let's see, the knobs that I have on it right now, and I've swapped out all different kinds of knobs. I think right now it's got some standard Fender knobs that have just been painted, and one of the knobs, if I recall, it's just one of those little knob shanks that you can buy. They're real cheap, that if you wanted to like glue something to, like, you know, on your guitar, make a knob that's got a buffalo head nickel on it or something, you can buy one of these little plugs that just essentially fits right there on the shank of the knob, and or on the shank of the pot, and it's like the very smallest possible knob that you can get. And so used one of those, glued a little wristwatch that I had laying around on it, so hence time traveler. The other thing, the pick guard is the standard Fender pick guard that came with it, but I got I didn't like copper leaf that. I got a patina kit, which is basically just paint, I think acrylic paint, that has metal content, real metal content, in this case probably copper. I don't think it's bronze, but it takes a patina real well. They give you chemicals that come with the patina kit that work to establish that nice bronze kind of patina, like it's 100 years old. But you can do the same thing with salt and vinegar. I think the stuff that comes with the kit probably works a little more predictably, so if you're new at doing patina work, you might want to try that. It's not real expensive. But before I put the patina on there, I had these little plastic numbers like you'd stick on your mailbox or something, and it's just a little plastic thing of like letters and numbers that I just found someplace, and I had just the right set of numbers to like put several dates on there, and then I don't remember for the life of me what years I put on there, but I put like a year from the 1700s, one from the 1950s, I think, and 2 or 3 others to make it look like you know, on those bells where they have like wording and a year on the side when the bell was cast. It's kind of like that. And then once I had that all together, I put the copper paint and patina on there, and it turned out real nice. I think I only redid that a couple, 3 times, which is a pretty good average for me because I do a lot of trial and error work. See, other parts of the guitar, it's got some nice locking tuners on there. So the neck of it is an aftermarket, I think Mighty Mite neck, but it's a licensed Fender replacement neck. So it's like, and if I understand correctly, a licensed aftermarket neck, you know, if you put one on your Fender guitar, you can't necessarily say it's a factory stock neck, but it's a company that Fender has said, yes, if you use this, it is equivalent to what we put on there, which basically just means it's got the pedigree. You know, the guitar that you build with an aftermarket neck isn't going to be a factory thing. You can't sell it as a stock Fender, but you know, anybody that knows will know that you know, Mighty Mite neck is going to be equivalent. So that's what that is, and it's got locking tuners in it that are probably a notch or 2 upgrade from what you'd get stock. Don't remember the brand. It's probably whatever is stock they're not Fender. They might be Fender branded. I'm not sure. I'd have to check. But and one of the cool things, and this is not something that I bought, the bridge pickup. It's a humbucker single coil configuration, which is kind of my preferred. If I'm going to play a Fender Strat, it's kind of my preference, because I kind of think I don't play Fender Strats, I'll be right honest, all that much. I like them, they're fine, they're great guitars, but if I'm gonna play a Fender, I kind of prefer Tellies, just because it's a little bit, well, I play 2 pickup electric guitars almost exclusively, and the Telly is set up in a way that's very familiar to me. Playing, I'm kind of more of a Gibson guy, and my favorite guitar is an SG, and second favorite is the Les Paul, and I just grew up playing those 2 pickup, 4 control type of things, and a Strat has a different configuration when you're configuring the wiring, or when you're switching the pickups. It's different. It's not hard. It's easy to get used to, but it's different, and it's not something that's real intuitive for me. So, but that being said, the pickup configuration on this one has humbucker in the bridge position, which I think is a nice touch, because I like a humbucker at the bridge, and it just gets you slightly warmer, fuller sound while still being bright and edgy. So like when you're playing a lead and you got some distortion on there, I think you get a nice bite to it. And as it turns out, the bridge pickup in this is a Seymour Duncan Pearly Gate, which is a nice pickup. It's arguably better than what comes in it from the Fender factory, I would say. And if you wanted to buy one aftermarket, it's like on a $150 or $200 pickup, so it's not a cheap pickup, and it's got a nice sound, especially when you're running it through a nice gain heavy amp. It's designed for getting a nice growl out of it. And the other 2 pickups are pretty nice too, but I think they're standard, just Fender stock pickups, and very nice all around guitar. The wiring in it looks pretty stock Fender. I'm sure it's aftermarket, or, well, the wiring harness was probably factory, because it didn't look like there was much tinkering going on. I don't think I did much tinkering other than reattaching stuff, but so everything's set up nicely. Gosh, what else with that guitar? The hoses, the little gauge, the patina, the neck. I'm thinking that's pretty much. I'm sure I'll remember something as soon as I turn the camera off, but that's about it. And I'm going to show pictures all through this video, so you'll see what I'm talking about, which means I need to go home and take some pictures. So anyway, make sure you like the video if you like the video. I mean, I'm not telling you what to do, and go ahead and share it to your friends if you feel like it. Click like and subscribe and all that happy horse poop, and I'll be talking at you soon. Bye now.